Next on the news, for more than half a century, he's helped immigrants make a home in New York City. Meet the priest who says he's needed now more than ever.
For nearly 58 years, a Catholic priest has been helping immigrants achieve their dream of citizenship here in Bushwick. I'm Katie Vasquez, and I'll have that story coming up.
Bishops have been weighing in on the border. The national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, John Lavenberg, breaks down what's been said. Plus,
German occupiers left the Dutch population more.
It's sold out a week after opening, but now the Anne Frank exhibit in New York City is being extended. Learn how you can get a ticket. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. The Trump administration is suing New York State. The lawsuit claims the state undermines federal immigration enforcement. Despite that, one priest in the Diocese of Brooklyn is forging ahead with his own mission to help migrants. Currents News' Katie Vasquez has the story from Bushwick.
The sidewalk outside District 3 Youth and Adults, Inc. is empty. A different scene from a few weeks ago.
We had lines, long lines. That now they're scared. They're scared to come out. They don't know what's going to happen.
Aquí está mi tarjeta.
Responding to the panic from President Donald Trump's recent executive orders and directives on migration, Monsignor James Kelly and the staff at his Wyckoff Avenue office are doing what they can to help the 50 to 100 people that still show up every day, hoping to live and work in New York legally. Monsignor Kelly offers them a deep discount on legal assistance without any funding because he understands their plight as a former new arrival from Ireland.
As an immigrant myself, I appreciate their difficulties.
His citizenship?
The 87-year-old retired priest doesn't go to court anymore, but he's well known here in Bushwick, where he's been working with immigrants since before he got his law degree.
And I couldn't do anything for them because I couldn't go to court.
Once he got his degree from St. John's University in 1980, he was inundated with requests from families looking to become U.S. citizens.
I started off with Italian immigrants. They were easy. We made hundreds of them citizens.
District 3, ¿cómo podemos ayudar?
Richard Reynoso's family was helped by Monsignor Kelly 20 years ago.
Let me ask you.
Now, as a legal counselor at his office, Richard understands the power of having a priest in your corner.
It's that trust through the Catholic Church that really, helps us file, not only my family, but those around us, because people trust Father, and therefore our organization.
Monsignor Kelly has physically slowed down over the years as he's struggled with health issues, but mentally he's just as strong, still coming into the office 6 days a week. Richard is hoping to get his law degree so he can take over.
We hope and pray every day that he lives until 150, but he's at least helping me in the ropes, coaching us from behind, so that we may be the next generation to carry his torch for him.
Despite all the challenges ahead, Monsignor Kelly says he will continue to fight the good fight.
Keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best.
Just like he's been doing for decades. In Bushwick, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
For more information on their services, you can email SeamusK@AOL.com or visit their office at 265 Wyckoff Avenue in Bushwick, Brooklyn, the zip 11237. You can also help Monsignor support migrants by mailing a check or money order to that address. Just make that out to District 3 Youth and Adults, Inc. Now to some developing news. The acting U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York has resigned. Danielle Sassoon stepped down on Thursday rather than obey a Justice Department order to drop corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Members of the Trump team said the case should be dismissed so Adams could help with the president's immigration crackdown. Meanwhile, Adams met with Trump's border czar at ICE headquarters in New York City Thursday. The meeting was private, but word is that the Trump administration wants NYPD officers to work side by side with immigration agents. That could be a violation of New York's sanctuary city law. Bishops around the country have been weighing in on the border crisis. Joining us now to talk about that is the national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, John Lavenberg. Hi, John.
Hi, Christine.
So, John, real quick, what's the latest from the border right now?
Yeah, the data that's coming out of the Trump administration shows that apprehensions and crossings have plummeted, and officials at the border have credited that to stricter arrest and return policies.
Now, there's been a bit of a back and forth between the U.S. bishops and J.D. Vance. The vice president questioned the bishops' criticism of the recent immigration policies, wondering if the prelates were more worried about humanitarian concerns or their bottom line. So what kind of response have you heard about those comments?
Yeah, so universally, bishops across the country, both at the U.S. Bishops Conference, their leadership, and bishops nationwide, have spoken out against those comments and really refuted that. And actually, the USCCB's own data refutes that assertion as well. The USCCB actually has to put in its own money beyond the government funding to help its refugee resettlement efforts now. But the differences between the bishops is a lot of them have differing opinions on immigration and the approaches taken. Some have denounced every move the Trump administration has made so far, while others have commended the Trump administration's efforts to remove criminals while reminding him that please be humane in the way things are done.
Yeah, and Pope Francis wrote to the bishops about migration recently, commending their efforts to help the new arrivals. The bishops had to have been kind of grateful for that message, right?
Absolutely. The bishops expressed their gratitude for Pope Francis giving them support, and they also said and reaffirmed that they hope the government here will continue to keep humanitarian priorities for those that are most vulnerable. All
right, John Lavenberg, national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Christine.
You could read more of John's reporting on the border online at thetablet.org. And over the weekend, consider picking up this week's paper at your local church for more immigration coverage. Inside, you'll find the latest installment of a monthly article by Brooklyn's Bishop Emeritus Nicholas DiMarzio called Walking with Migrants. The nationally recognized immigration expert talks about the question of restriction versus expansion of immigration, looking at the issue from a social and moral standpoint. So be sure to pick up the paper at your local church. You can also support the Tablet and Catholic journalism by becoming a member. You could do so by going online to thetablet.org/become-a-member. Finally tonight, a new look into the life of one of the most well-known Holocaust victims is gaining traction. More than 30 million people around the world have read the diary of Anne Frank, and the annex she and her family hid in for 761 days in Amsterdam has become one of the most visited historical sites in Europe. Now, a new exhibit has brought that site to the United States, and it's become so popular they've decided to expand its showing. Currents News' Katie Vasquez gives us a sneak peek from the Flatiron District.
As World War II raged across Europe, a young Jewish girl named Anne Frank hid with her family in the annex of her father's company in Amsterdam, all the while writing a diary that would be translated into 75 languages. The home in Amsterdam receives 1 million visitors a year, with the executive director estimating 25% come from the U.S.
Tickets sell out very quickly, so we have been thinking for a longer period of time what we could offer to those audiences who are not able to visit the house itself.
A complete replica of the space is now available at the Center for Jewish History for the public to view, including the desk where she wrote her diary. But the exhibit also shares never-before-seen artifacts like poetry written by Anne and family photos to offer context of what shaped the young girl's life.
I think really do make it physically tangible that this girl, who we of course know from the diary, did have a real physical existence.
The exhibition comes at a time when anti-Semitism is at an all-time high. Organizers say it emphasizes the need to share her experience.
We're very convinced that having a fuller understanding of the complexities of history gives us an opportunity to talk and foster a conversation with people who might not always see eye to eye on things.
The center has invited 350 schools from as far away as California to educate young people with a curriculum developed by the Anne Frank Center at the University of South Carolina.
Young people's voices matter. Young people people may not always realize that, but it was a 13, 14-year-old girl who has inspired this exhibit.
And while Anne and her family are the focus of this exhibit, organizers don't want people to forget all the other lives lost.
She was just one of 1.5 million Jewish children who were murdered during the Holocaust, and many of whom we don't know anything about them.
In the Flatiron District, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
The Anne Frank exhibition, which was originally only scheduled for 3 months, sold out within a week of opening. So organizers have decided to expand the exhibit, which is now available until October 31st, 2025. To visit, just go to annefrankexhibit.org. That is this Currents News update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.